Hi there, it's Miro. Today I gonna show you how to set up IPsec VPN Tunnel between Fortinet Fortigate and Mikrotik router. For this scenario I'm using Pnet Lab emulator. As you can see, we have Fortigate on side A, and Mikrotik router on side B. We will have some basic configuration on both sides. And we will use Cisco Switch as a Dhcp server for our end devices. Well, let's get started with Fortigate configuration on side A. First we connect to our Fortigate and open CLI interface. Double-click on Fortigate in your Pnet Lab, or use console cable on real device. Write your username and password. Then you should set new password as you logged in for the first time. Then execute show system interface command to see Fortigate port status. Here we see the port 1 that we've chosen as the Internet interface port has been set on DHCP mode by default. So first we need to change its mode to static. Now we can set the IP on port 1. In this scenario, I've chosen 10.10.15.112/24 that it's on my local network IP range. Then set allow access as you prefer. Alright, now we can access to Fortigate web interface and continue our configuration via web. To do that, open your web browser and enter the IP you already set on port 1. Enter your user and password and hit login. Alright, we are in. Go to Network menu and select Interfaces. There you can see port 1 that we already configured via CLI. Follow the configuration process and choose one for its role. Then we should configure port 2 as our LAN interface that is connected to Cisco Switch. As it's shown on topology, we've chosen 1.1.1.1/30 IP for port 2 of Fortigate. Well, we have done the first steps of Fortigate basic configuration. Now let's go to Cisco Switch, and we will back to Fortigate again. As you can see, I changed its name to Side A Switch. You can name it whatever you want. Select interface Gigabit Ethernet 0/0 as our routed interface to Fortigate and set IP 1.1.1.2/30 for it as it's shown on topology. Oh, I made a mistake on subnet mask for interface 0/0. I set /24 instead of /30. Let me correct it. Alright, now it is /30. Back to our scenario, now we should configure DHCP pool for our local network and devices. Follow the process has been shown on the video. As you can see, our local IP range is 172.16.1.0/24. We have done with DHCP pool configuration. And now we need to make routing configuration. As you know, our default gateway is 1.1.1.1. Alright, now it's time for VLAN configuration. I'm gonna make VLAN 2 and assign interface 0/1 and 0/2 to it. Now we assign VLAN 2 to interface 0/1 and 0/2. Assign IP address to VLAN 2. Our basic configuration on switch has been done. Now we can turn on our virtual PCs and set their interface to DHCP mode to get IP from our switch DHCP pool. Something is wrong. It shouldn't take this IP 1.2. It might be because of IP excluded address configuration. Let's go back to switch and check it. Yes, excluded range is wrong. I wanted to exclude addresses from 1.1 to 1.100. But I've typed 1.10 instead of 1.1. Let's fix that. Go back to our virtual PC and check it. Alright, now it is correct. So on my first PC, I will release and renew the address. Okay, that's it. Go back to Fortigate and set up routing configuration. Note that, I'm using Fortios version 7.0.3, in your lab or device it might has different version with different interface, but configuration is same. First we need to configure default route to reach internet via our WAN gateway. To do that, we go under network and static routes followed by create new. As this is our default route we can leave the destination address as it is. It basically means all packets from Fortigate firewall would be sent to outgoing gateway to reach internet. Then we can set gateway address or choose from interface list as our outgoing interface for this static route. Let's check if our default route works or what. Okay, our Fortigate now can reach internet. The next step is to make another route to reach our local network IP addresses through port 2 and Cisco switch. In this case, our destination IP range is 172.16.1.0/24 and our gateway is 1.1.1.2. And clearly our outgoing interface is port 2. Alright, our route from Fortigate to our local area has been set. Now another option we should set up is IP policy or firewall policy to make it enable that the traffic from our local network area reach Fortigate and then internet. To do that, under policy and object, choose firewall policy, and click create new. As I mentioned before, packets comes from our LAN through incoming interface that is port 2, and goes to outgoing interface that is port 1. In this scenario, I choose all 4 source and services, but depends to your network. You can create different addresses and subnets and choose which one follows this policy. Okay, our simple configuration on Firewall Policy has been set. Now I'm gonna check my virtual PC in local area to see if my root configuration in Firewall Policy works and if it can reach my Fortigate and Internet. Yes, it can see port 1 of Fortigate IP, that is R1. It also reached my lab gateway. And finally, it can ping Google DNS, means my local network can reach Internet. And now let's check if we can reach to our local area from Fortigate. Great! We can see both of our virtual PCs. Now we can go to our Side B network configuration and start with Mikrotik. Connect to your Mikrotik or double-click on Mikrotik node in your lab to open command line interface. Log in with username admin without password. Then set your preferred password. Execute IP interface print command to check our interface IP status. We can see our Ethernet port 1 has different IP that comes from my home lab Dhcp server, but our preferred IP on this topology is 10.10.15.19. So I go for it and set my preferred IP. Now I'm gonna check if my home network can reach this Mikrotik. Yes, so now I can connect to my Mikrotik using Winbox. Okay, we are in. Now, go to IP, Firewall and choose NAT. Then click plus bottom and create Masquerade NAT. We can see our Mikrotik can reach Internet now. And also it can see external IP address of our Fortigate on side A. Now we will configure Ether2 that is connected to our local area network. And set IP 2.2.2.1/30 for it as it was shown on topology. Okay, now it's time to log into our Cisco switch and set the required configuration, such as routing configuration, DHCP pool and VLAN configuration. something similar to our Side A Cisco configuration. Note that, these configuration and setup process are so basic and depends to your network topology or network devices, you would add or change some more setting. Set IP 2.2.2.2/30 on interface 0/0 as our routed interface to Mikrotik Ether 2. Set DHCP pool configuration for our Side B local network IP range. Set interface 0/1 and 0/2 as access ports. Create VLAN 2 and set IP address for it, then assign VLAN 2 to your access interfaces. In this scenario, our access interfaces that are connected to our virtual PCs are 0/1 and 0/2. Now I'm gonna set my virtual PC's interface to DHCP mode to get IP from switch DHCP pool. Alright, my virtual PCs get IP from DHCP pool range. Now let's go back to switch and set routing configuration. Check our routing and connectivity from local area. As you can see, Mikrotik external IP and Internet are not reachable from our local area. Actually, packets from our PCs go through switch and reach Mikrotik, but there is no route from Mikrotik to send packets back, so we need to make another route in Mikrotik. Open the route window and set new route configuration. The destination is our local IP range. And the gateway should be 2.2.2.2, that is our switch interface 0/0 IP address. Now check again. Okay, we can see our local area can reach Mikrotik, and from Mikrotik also we can reach to both of our VPCs in local area network. And both of our virtual PCs can also reach Internet as well as external IP of Site A. But it is obvious that both internal IP ranges cannot ping each other because they are located in separated networks. So now we will set IPsec VPN Tunnel between these two networks to make it enable. Alright, our basic network configuration has been done, and now we can start IPsec VPN configuration between these two sites. To do that, let's log into Fortigate and under VPN select IPsec Tunnels, then click Create New. Then select IPsec Tunnel. In new page we have different options for creating site-to-site or client-to-site VPN tunnels, but as we are setting this tunnel between Fortigate and another device we should choose custom. Give a name to this VPN tunnel and hit Next. Under Network Setting choose Static IP Address for Remote Gateway, and write your remote device static IP. In my lab, as you know, my remote device on side B is Mikrotik and its IP address is 10.10.15.19. Then select your WAN interface. Disable NAT traversal, and go to Authentication setting. Choose Pre-shared key method and put a secure key for it. On Phase 1 proposal, select DES, Data Encryption Standard, for encryption algorithm. And choose SHA-1 for authentication. I choose group number 2 for Diffie-Hellman group as a 1024-bit field size that later on Mikrotik I gonna choose and set same as here. Okay, on Phase 2, put local IP range of side A4, local address field. And then, for remote address field, write the side B local IP range. Expand advanced option, and again choose DES and SHA-1 for encryption and authentication. Unselect PFS. And select Auto Negotiation option. IPsec VPN setup on Fortigate has been done, and now go back to Network Static Route to make new route for our VPN. Here on this route, our destination address should be side B local area IP range, that is 192.168.1.0/24. And our gateway to reach the destination is our VPN tunnel that recently created. Then we need to create 2 new firewall policy. On first one, we will let the packets that comes from our local area can reach the VPN tunnel as external gateway to reach the selected destination. Note that, here we can also specify the source and destination address, but in this scenario I select all for them to make it simple for this training video. There's some more firewall and security option that depends to your policy and Fortigate license you can choose or customize. Our first firewall policy has been created. To create second one, we can easily right-click on the first policy and select Clone Reverse from the option. Because second policy is exactly reverse form of the first one. It basically means that the packets that are coming from side B through VPN tunnel and wanted to reach the local area IP range are accepted. Just open it and give it a name. And don't forget to make it enable at the end and click OK. IPsec VPN configuration, IP policies and routing on side A has been done, and now, we need to go to side B and set up IPsec VPN on Mikrotik. Open Winbox and log in to Mikrotik. Then expand the IP option and select IPsec from the menu. Depends to your router OS version, this Windows menu and icons might have some differences, but configuration has same process. Okay, first I'm gonna create new profile for my IPsec VPN. Same as authentication algorithm on Fortigate VPN setup, here I select DIS and 1024 for DH group. Also, unselect NAT traversal. Now go to peer and click plus icon to create new peer. On peer address field write the side A public IP. In my lab it is 10.10.15.112. Then select the profile that you recently created for this VPN. Click OK. Now go to Identities and click plus icon to create new IPsec identity. Select the recently created peer and choose pre-shared key for authentication method. And write the same secret key that you have set on Fortigate. Let the rest of the options remains as default and click OK. Now go to Policies and create new policy. In General tab, select the peer you have created for this VPN tunnel. Select Tunnel. For source address field, put the internal IP range of side B local network. And for destination address, put the internal IP range of side A local network. On Action tab we need to select the proposal, but first let create the proposal, then we go back to this Action tab. Alright, go to Proposals and create new IPsec proposal. Here again select SHA-1 for authentication algorithm and DES for encryption. And choose None for PFS, same as what we have done on Fortigate VPN configuration. Then click OK. Now go back to Proposal, go to Action tab and select our recently created proposal. Then click OK. Alright, IPsec VPN setup on Mikrotik has been done. On Action Peer tab we can see our VPN status, that established. Now go to IP, Firewall and click NAT tab. And select Masquerade NAT, then go to Advanced tab. There on IPsec Policy, select out from the option list, and click OK. Okay, now we can check our VPN tunnel and the connections between two sides local area network. I'm gonna ping the PC on side B local area from the PC on side A. Yes, we can see side B local network from side A, and now I'm gonna check it from side B and ping the PC on side A network. Yes, we can ping. I'm gonna check same ping test with other two PCs. Good. As you can see, we can reach other network through the VPN tunnel. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed this video.